17 minutes after 8. She's got her tool belt on. Astrid, how is it going up in the northwest part of the city as you take on your garage renovation?
Well, this is Dan King, and he's certainly not the king of renovating. He's working on his garage right now with a lot of help. We have Ryan here, Ryan Shoemaker with 1-800-DRYWALL. They deliver drywall to your home, they supply the drywall, and they help out with some advice. Dan doesn't know what he's doing. What's the first thing you need to do when you decide to renovate your garage or your basement?
Well, Dan phoned me yesterday and had a bunch of questions, which is great because we were able to help him out. But as you can see right now, Dan's insulating the wall. So the first thing that Dan needed to find out was what kind of insulation to use. And to do that, he had to measure the cavity depth to find out if he's using a 2x4 or 2x6 stud, which then dictates the thickness of the insulation he could use. The next thing he needed to do was find out what his stud spacing was. That determines the width of the insulation. And then, of course, then he needed to determine how much insulation he needed, which is simple math of measuring length times height. That's your square footage.
Okay, 1-800-DRYWALL. I thought you would provide drywall. Do you
We
provide?
certainly do.
Okay.
Yeah, the insulation is the first step. And once Dan's done insulating and polying this wall, we'll then help him out on the drywall as well. So.
What sort of things should we think about?
Well, same thing. You need to know how much drywall you need, what your application is. On this wall here, it's just a standard half-inch standard wall. And when it got time to do a ceiling, we're using a ceiling drywall. So
Ceiling drywall, not easy to put up.
no, you definitely want a friend for that. And the whole key to any project, I think, is having the right tools for the job. So we outfitted Dan with the tools that he needs as well. We got some step ladders for him and everything else he needs. So.
Okay. And how about directions and all the mudding and stuff?
Yeah, well, there's definitely how-to tips on our website for some of that stuff, and our phone's always on. So if anybody needs help, then just give us a shout. We help walk them through that. So.
And the nice thing about 1-800-DRYWALL is, I don't have to get my drywall into the garage. That's easy. And I don't have to get the drywall into the basement. What sort of things do I need to think about for you to get the drywall into my basement?
Well, I guess the basement's kind of always a tricky one because in most cases we're going down the stairs. So people just need to kind of keep access in mind. Typically 8-foot sheets is what you want to use, and it's not too often we can't get 8-foot sheets down the basement. So.
Great. Thanks, Ryan. You better get to it.
Yeah.
He needs you over there. He doesn't know what he's doing. I do. Kidding.
Yeah, we know you do, and that's why we've sent you out there. And Astrid, I'm reading 1.7 million households renovated last year. So
Yes.
our renovations are way up across the country. Calgary absolutely going with the trend. I know you put a new, you've got your work gloves. You put a new roof on your house. Heather's done some painting. I just did a bunch
Your
of
deck?
outdoor. Yeah, it's all done. So really, renovating is the way to go. We're watching our money. You have to do it. You're doing it yourself. So this morning, we really wanted to send you out there. Take us through the steps. So thank you. And we'll
Thanks.
come back to you in a few minutes. I expect to see drywall in
easy.
your hair.
The Government of Canada has proposed new tax cuts that may benefit you. As part of Canada's Economic Action Plan, tax cuts, like the Home Renovation Tax Credit, could save you up to $1,350 on renovations completed before next February. There are also eco-energy home retrofit grants and savings for first-time home buyers. So reach out and claim them. Learn more about Canada's Economic Action Plan at actionplan.gc.ca or call 1-800-O-CANADA. A message from the Government of Canada.
Astrid's renovating today. She's the foreman at a construction site in the northwest part of the city.
I like that. You got it right. Foreman, supervisor. I know what I'm doing. We've got these guys insulating. Pretty soon we'll be hanging the vapor barrier, and then we'll be hanging the drywall less.
Okay,
You'll want
good
to watch
know.
that.
You sound totally like you know what you're doing. I'm so impressed this morning. 8:31. She's even got those work gloves. Our Astrid. Well, you're the painting queen, so,
Oh, painting and drywalling, a little different.
little bit of a different story.
Okay, gorgeous weather, so you know what that means? That means it's time to do some renovating in the garage or in the basement. We've got Cliff up here. He's hanging drywall. Hey, Cliff, get down here. Okay, so you're hanging drywall from top. Is that the easiest thing to do?
Actually, that's insulation.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter how you start, but I like to start at the top, work my way down, That way you stuff your bat in, you come to the bottom, you cut your piece to fit in, and away you go from there.
Okay, so I see you've done some here. What sort of things should I think about with my insulation? It looks like something I want to really squish in and stuff.
Well, no, you don't really want to squish it in and stuff it in because actually what the quality that insulation has is the air that it traps. So you don't want to squish it in there. You want to have it fit in. You see how this fits in nice and evenly. You pull it out. You want it level with the studs. You don't want it stuffed in there.
So I've got 2 studs working here, ha ha ha. But we've got 2x4 studs, so what kind of insulation?
Well, that's R12. So that's crucial for somebody that's going to do a renovation. They have to know what size of insulation they need to get.
But sometimes you have 2x6 studs.
That's right. So then you need R20. But that's where you talk to 1-800-DRYWALL. They're going to tell you everything you need to know.
Okay. So Cliff, I see you've got insulation on the top there and the bottom there, and you've got this middle piece kind of fitting in.
Well, this is a 9-foot wall, and insulation is manufactured in 4-foot lengths. So that's why we started with a bat at the top, a bat at the bottom, and then you cut a little piece to fit in here. And you want, again, to see how this piece fits. It's nice and neat and even, and it fits nice and tight.
Okay, so Dan, the homeowner, the garage owner, is cutting the drywall. The insulation. What kind of tools do you need?
Well, any kind of utility knife works. He's just using a straight edge, and the easiest way to cut it is to compress it on a hard surface, run the knife through it, and cut it.
Mm-hmm. And very important, he's got a mask on and gloves.
Well, absolutely. One of the critical things that each and every homeowner should know is that they shouldn't ignore safety.
Okay.
And you don't want to be breathing the fibers that come out of that.
Absolutely.
So,
safety first.
Safety first.
Thanks,
sure.
Cliff.
Take care.
Okay, insulation. I kept calling it drywall, but I know it's insulation.
Yeah, we know you know what you're talking about. We know you know, Astrid. Continuing to renovate up in the northwest part of the city, and we'll go back to that in a couple of minutes' time.
Okay, so we've put in the insulation and we've hung the vapor barrier. Now we're going to hang the drywall, and we have Ryan Shoemaker here with 1-800-DRYWALL. I'm holding the nails here. I'm trying to tell you that I know what I'm doing. I know they're screws because, look, see, they've got a head that you kind of turn in. Drywall screws. Okay, I don't know what kind of drywall to buy.
Well, I guess that's the first thing Dan asked us, too. He said, look, I'm doing my garage. I got the walls. What do I use for the walls? So I instructed Dan, if it's just your standard walls, half-inch standard drywall, your typical 4x8, everybody kind of knows that. And then he said, but I'm also going to do the ceiling, Ryan, so what about that? So I instructed him, in the ceiling, you want to use ceiling drywall.
What's the difference?
Ceiling drywall is a little more rigid. It allows it to not sag between the studs when you put insulation on top. So.
Okay. Now these guys are hanging the top drywall sheet first, but you're telling me really do the top, the roof first?
You always want to do the ceilings first. Yeah. So you do the ceilings and then you put the top sheet on a drywall up against the ceiling.
Okay. And once they hang this sheet, do they put the next sheet right underneath it?
No, you actually want to stagger the end joint because when you finish this now, you don't want the top and bottom sheet to end at the same spot, otherwise you have a long butt joint, they call it, which is tough to finish. So you want to stagger that. Okay,
now if I end up cutting my drywall, what do I do? Factory edge to factory edge or what?
Yeah, you want what they call bevel edge to bevel edge, when possible, for sure.
Okay. And I see these guys are screwing in.
Yeah.
Now, do you screw it in all the way and make it flush, or?
Yeah, actually, you want to counter set the screw just slightly into the drywall, so when you finish it, it allows for you to put a little coat of mud over top and hide the screw totally.
Okay, great. Thanks, Ryan. Dan, this is his garage. He's finishing up there, and then we will talk about interior decorating. Ha ha ha. I'm not so good at that.